Let me get some more of this nice breeze. Hello and happy Tuesday. Trusting all are safe and well. Sending a virtual rose and love from a distance. People often ask, why do I say that? And it's because I believe we don't give people flowers while they can appreciate and enjoy them. So I always use my entrance cadence, if you will, by offering my flowers and love to everyone, even to those back there in the bushes. Now, this won't be a long broadcast because I have to wear my entrepreneur hat number 1, which is civil process. So I've got to go to the law firm, pick up my work, and go look for some people. But I wanted to touch briefly on some of the videos I was able to watch and digest. And it was from the proceedings on Monday. Now, much to my chagrin, and this is just my opinion as a woman, my opinion as a Black woman, my opinion as a Black woman in her 50s. 53 to be exact. God willing, 54 in November. Not too bad. Now, if I could eliminate a little more stress and relearn some breathing exercises and shed some more of this fluffiness, maybe I could knock a couple of years off. But anyway, looks fade, but the heart and soul stays. Now, a few women, and I must say, I'm surprised, spoke on what they would do or what they wouldn't do. And some began with, well, I don't know the whole facts. Well, maybe you shouldn't have rendered your opinion. Wise people, and as my description states, if it doesn't apply, let it fly. Like in the movie with Jodie Foster, Fly, Little Starling, Fly, Fly, Fly. It's a little trivia question. Do you remember the movie? I'll tell you. The silence of the lambs. Anyway, if you don't know backstory, the origin, how do you form your lips to begin an opinion and then set your device up and record that opinion? That's foolish. And to any of the women or men out there who don't agree or have a problem, too bad. In a court of law, you have to have the facts. And when one makes an opinion and you don't have all of the facts, or as one said, I don't even know where it began. Perhaps you should have kept your mouth shut, because the two women you said look stupid, that's you. And another thing, and I pray it doesn't happen to any other women or some of these men with little girls, nieces, women and their families, have that same energy. Because if you haven't noticed, we have a lot of evil walking among the earth. Yeah. Some you may break bread with. Some you may kick the bobo. That's a country saying. I'm a country girl. Hey there, Jay Hustler. How are you? But some of you are just running off at the mouth without all of the facts. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I work with them. And well, my last live, some of the pictures I posted gives a little bit about my background. So I think I have enough experience to speak on this. Not to mention, I was one of the first to have had the unpleasant dealings with a barber. Now, I posted a video earlier yesterday, and it was the same. And I asked a question, and I did put in, allegedly, self-talk. Self-talk news. Did you say this? Because the voice you heard said, or alluded to say something like, shout out to Self-Talk, who says, these bees need to be stopped. Need to be stopped. Stopped how? What's your definition of stopped? Silenced? no longer able to express their opinion? Bodily harm? Or fear, where they may not want to say anything? Or other actions that may force other measures to be taken, such as pages being monitored, you being watched, and those in your chats being watched. Now, as I mentioned, you can have every layer of protection, and I know about protection detail, but keep in mind, we are all flesh. And I know for a fact, some, not all, live for that almighty dollar. Or the colloquialism that's been used, the bag. The bag. Everybody wants the bag. And there could be members of a protection detail who may feign an emergency illness where they may have to take their eyes and body off a dignitary or a secretary of an agency. I think most of you get where I'm coming from. So, who can you really trust? In certain industries, entertainment, of course, and that goes from sports, film, anything in the public eye. You have to be really careful of your surroundings and who you entrust with your finances, your property. If you go out of town, like many football players, for example, or they may have people to house sit, and though they may believe they've done their proper vetting, I've seen instances where that has gone wrong. And any football fans out there, especially those from DC, number 21, John Taylor, who was just in his prime, we all know what happened to him. So, even though there are some behind the keyboard that says or purports to say, I'm untouchable, that's not true. We're all touchable, including me. And I also posted where I had to serve custody papers. He was a slick one, but I asked the right questions. And after I ID'd motorcycle and the car, I waited. And he was too busy on the phone, and I walked right up on him. You could see by the pictures, that wasn't a small dude. He was probably 6'3". I'm 5 foot even. But my partner years ago was the defense tech trainer for flexi. So during lunch, we practice a couple of things. So just because I'm in my 50s, I still have some strength and some tricks left up my sleeve. And when need be, I still have my BDUs and a couple of buddies with me. That being said, we all can be touched. And when you go through being threatened, I don't care how big or strong you are, mentally, eventually, it'll take a toll. Because again, like I said, you really don't know these days who you can trust. And because life, for many, especially a lot of these young people growing up, they don't care about that. They don't care about theirs. They definitely don't care about yours. So if you offer them just a small piece of the pie, they'll be your crash dummy. And that's the sad part. I see some of these kids out here now, and I wonder what is going on in the household. As a matter of fact, one of the little terrors in the neighborhood, they don't listen to me. But when that shiny car with the star on it, they'll go away. Now, I've talked to a couple over and over about using my front as a playground. The playground is further back, and then there's a wild field for them to play. They don't listen. So I told one of the little boys, I'm going to speak to your mom if I have to come out and talk to you again. You know what that little boy told me? And didn't flinch. Good, because she wants all the smoke. All the smoke. Now, this little whippersnapper couldn't have been any more than 7 or 8. And he told me, good, because she wants all the smoke. Of course, he had his little friends around him. I said, oh, really? All right, let's walk up there together. I got there, and I was polite, and I told her, I explained to her thoroughly that I understand that kids are kids, and they should play, but not in front of my house, because I don't want to hear it. I don't like my little plants being trampled, or if I'm on a meeting for work, to hear all of that noise in the background. Do it in front of your own home or the designated area for kids. And where I grew up, we couldn't do that. If we even looked at an adult the wrong way, by the time we got in the house, there was already a switch waiting for us. So she spoke to her little boy, and of course, there was no dad in the house. Whether there's a dad or not, I don't know. I didn't ask. It's none of my business. But the fact he has started up again this year tells me he has a really hard head. Then there's another little one who's even younger. I had to talk to his grandfather because he likes to play kickball. And one day, the ball hit the window on this truck. I heard it, and I said, young man, if you break that window, your papa is going to be in a lot of trouble. So please don't do that. He just gave me a look and got on his bike. So I started sweeping out my floors, and he rode his bike by. And do you know what he said to me? He called me Karen. Yeah. He called me Karen. So again, we as adults need to do a better job with some of these children, because if they are acting as they are now, what are they going to do when they get into high school? That's why many teachers, they don't want to be bothered. I couldn't be a teacher. I would be fired. I would be fired. But back to the videos that I've listened to. If you don't know the backstory, you don't know all the facts, please don't disrespect the women who did what they felt they needed to do. And I, for one, applaud their efforts. Because honestly, it could be any one of you. Would you want to go through that alone? Do you even know what was said or perhaps received by them? Yet you're making your reaction or opinionated videos? Do you even know everything I've received? Of course you don't. Since I haven't released everything, I've released enough. And whoever, well, to the screen name, and I've seen you a couple of times, but you actually had the balls, excuse me, to leave a comment. Why are we KB supporters making up fake accounts? Space Ghost, you're the asshole that left that on my page. Obviously, you didn't listen to my live. So now, guess what? Your digital footprint was captured. See, this is than a lot of you think. And many of you are being exposed for the frauds you are. Now, I'm not going to give you the pleasure or make myself sick by saying your names, but some of you out here are telling some doozies of lies. Man, oh Shevitz. It's comical. And there are a couple of people who left some today. I was rolling. It was too funny. And one of them was a parody of car wash. I do have to say this name, but this one is to thank for the laughter. And I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, so forgive me if I say it incorrectly, but meal ticket. I enjoyed that one. And the funny thing is, I've got a lot more information. But we don't want to make this quick. Like I was told, I want you to die slowly. Yeah, that's what someone said to me. But when I say that, I don't mean it like I want someone to kill you, or I want some type of illness to be the cause of your demise. I want your exposure to be slow so that everyone can see. And I think a lot of people are beginning to see the fraud you are. Now, why is it, and let me put this disclaimer out, and this is for all of the women and men who at one time made a mistake or mistakes, and we all make them. Trust me, because I have. Excuse me. And unfortunately, those mistakes cost them their freedom. But now they're blessed to have freedom, and some of them have made positive changes within their lives. So I applaud all of you. However, some come out and instead of changing their ways, they look for new, innovative ways to get around things. And this particular gentleman, well, there are a few. And at first I want to say this, and this is because I know it firsthand. A lot of men who come out and return to society, they're either in the industries of barber and cosmetology. I think they fall under the same umbrella. Landscaping and repo. Repo, you can get a lot of information on people. Actually, you can get a lot of information doing a basic search. Now, mind you, a lot of these free little apps you see, those are a lot outdated. Trust me, because a couple of paralegals, I find myself going behind them to skip trace. Normally, if you live in an apartment, not a condo, but an apartment, people normally stay unless you're on maybe government assistance. Some people stay 2, 3 years tops until they can move into a home, or if they plan to expand their families. So if I receive a court document and it's an apartment building, I already know I'm going to have to skip trace. And that means exhaust all efforts to find an updated address. Normally I know where to look, but then again, many people use other addresses, or they haven't updated their licenses. It could be several different reasons, but you have to look and verify and cross-reference. That's what I do, and that's why I get carte blanche with my attorney clients, because I know eventually I'll get what I need. But anyway, these individuals I've noticed. Oh, and I forgot, other than barber, landscaping, and repo, also there's some in the area of real estate. Now, because I'm inquisitive and I think I'm quite bright, there could be connections. And when I say connections in applying for maybe a payment protection loan, and maybe by being in the industry of real estate, you may know of a vacant home. And use that as an address, but call it a shop with one employee making over $100,000, because that's one of the requirements to receive at least $20,833. Now, on my live, I did call Phenon. I showed you the website. But if you have any time on your hands and you want to test the validity of what I'm saying, because some of these people come up here and they talk a good game, and their followers are so enamored, if you will, they don't even fact check. P detective. Type in any name. Type in a name that seems to have an obsession of a certain individual. One you may find, and I couldn't believe it myself, who actually is using their name as an LLC, which was pretty savvy, because if anyone decides they want to sue that person, the LLC was a thought process to protect them. But that LLC doesn't always protect in the way you may think. Now, I hope, for this individual's sake, and I am not going to say the individual's name or state, but as I said, find somebody that's obsessed with marathon panels. Just type in the name. Guess what you'll find? PPP loan. Not one, but two. And the industry? A barbershop. A sole proprietor. Now, my question is, how or when do you have time to cut hair when you're up all night with a panel about another man? Where's your equipment? I'm sure each state has zoning laws. Do you have a use and occupancy permit? Do you? I'm just asking a question, because see, a lot of people think that because these loans are forgivable and forgiven, if you're suspected of fraud, and there are about 5 elements that one can be charged with, if you've been found guilty of PPP loan fraud. Some people say, well, I repaid the loan. You gave back money you stole. Now, in my description, I'm going to read, well, I'm not going to read, I'm sorry, I'm going to leave the United States codes just for reference. But the first one, and this should be common sense, but for those who lack, and there are a lot of you out there that do, when you intentionally enter a false statement on a government funding document, that's a crime in itself. Then there's conspiracy to defraud the federal government. And when you get your money, most of the time, it's wired into your account. So, when wiring is added to the equation, that's bank fraud. So, those three elements alone can cost you thousands in fines and jail time. Now, I'm not saying that it will. I'm saying what it could. You should visit the state attorney office's websites for your jurisdiction and look at some of the cases where people have already been prosecuted and received sentences 17, 20, 30 years. It's just a little food for thought for some of you who think you may have gotten away with something. Now, just because I know doesn't mean I'm going to say anything. That's not my issue. I've got 99 issues, and your fraud ain't one. My issue that I'm dealing with, other than my health, is one individual. And as I said to one person, justice. Justice. What is justice? Do we ever really receive justice? Wrongful death. I've had a couple of wrongful death cases where the plaintiff received millions in compensatory and punitive damages. But with all of those millions, did they really receive justice? Because their family member is gone. They were not made whole. The idea of justice, in my opinion, is to be made whole. In my particular situation, being made whole would mean not having to question or vet anyone inquiring about business, any phone calls or messages I may receive from numbers not familiar to me. Things, excuse me, I didn't have to worry about. And as I mentioned, when someone with a pretty decent platform, and most of the time, a lot of these platforms have followers of like-minded people. They may take a lie and to impress the presenter, if you will, of that lie, go out and take care of a situation. That's what I've had to deal with. When you lie, especially when the lie is you put a black man in jail, it's just like putting the jacket of a pedo on a man. You make that man, if anyone hears about it, a target, especially when he's innocent. But because of your hate or disdain for that person, you know that's a buzzword that would incite people to possibly cause harm upon that individual, family members, or maybe even friends. That's what we're dealing with right now as women, some women. And again, shame on you males who think that's just entertainment. And the same thing for you females. It's not entertainment. Who do you know enjoys having their phone ring 2-3 o'clock in the morning and have to listen to vulgar, disgusting words or receive text messages or get strange messages, or up until my page was monitored, other disparaging messages? How would you feel if you had to protect your family and keep all of that inside because you don't want to upset them and have them nervous? If you had small children and you know that's going on, but you have to protect them, so your nerves will be off the charts. But you have the gall, the unmitigated gall, to come up and say, you look stupid. You don't know what the outcome is going to be. You don't know if there are other layers, if there are other people that may not have been disclosed yet. What happened to sisterhood? Same thing with a lot of these men out here. You see quite a few men being attacked because They support a message and they're out doing work. Now they're being harassed, being mocked. How would you feel being the head of the household, being the protector, and to have others say, oh, it's just entertainment. Why don't we see that entertainment in other sectors? Why is that? Why is it guidelines for some are ignored? Do you not see? It's just another ploy for us to continue to destroy ourselves. There were several rappers, men and women both alike, either in the 80s or 90s. I want to say maybe late 80s. But it was self-destruction. We're headed for self-destruction. It's 2022. How far have we really gotten as a people? Queen Latifah, UNITY, who you calling a B? We're called B's every day by many of you out there. And the most harrowing part to me is it rolls off of some of your tongues so easily. It makes me wonder if you are married or in a relationship, are you doing that to them too? We are the most unprotected, underserved, why are so many people blind to that? We don't have a choice but to stand up and fight, even if that fight is solo or only two people. Because trust and believe, this is not going to be, nor is the first time. There'll be others, maybe but not by this individual. It could be someone else. It could be a black, wink wink, copycat. But that copycat really should keep mouth shut, because you're really looking like a clown out here. And as I said, I'm not going to say what I know already unless forced. I may comment on other posts and laugh if I see something, but I have one thing I'm dealing with, and I already know it's in the pipeline. So I had to remain patient and vigilant. It's tiresome and truly not fair, especially when you know you didn't go at that person. I guess that's the way the YouTube streets go sometimes. But how can I put it? I'm not going to put a lot of my physical energy into this. That's what the big boys are for. And I have plenty. I have enough already. So, yeah, it's a waiting game. A waiting game. Some things don't really materialize until months later. So, for all of you that are following, donating, and please continue to follow and donate to these people. Just remember, everything has a consequence. And Cash App. Did you know the rules about the IRS and Cash Apps for a certain amount? Or did you know? Everything is traceable. And to the individual and followers who keep erroneously believing there was a winner in a certain court proceeding. Certain court actions, there is no winner or a loser. Something is even granted or not, depending upon what the action is and what the prayer of relief was, and how the judge, or depending on jurisdiction, a lot of them have, you call them magistrates. It's really in their hands. Whoever delivers the best. The other person could be wrong as hell. But still, I'm not going to say given a reprieve, but they're still not found to have committed what the document said, which the petitioner could be right, even if they're being wrong in the end. But it's a good book if you believe, does say the tail will become the head and the head will become the tail. So, to the people I'm addressing personally, and anyone else in life who may be going through something, and it seems like every time you try, the outcome isn't what you expect. That doesn't mean give up. You just put it on the altar, do what you're supposed to do, and wait. Wait. You'd be surprised what may come your way when you least expect it. And one thing for sure, and two for certain, those who lie, cheat, and defraud will slip up, and they'll make a mistake. It's up to you to activate that spirit of discernment and capitalize off that mistake. So with that, I'm going to say, hi there, Lauren. Happy Tuesday. How are you? Good night for now. I may come back on later because I was supposed to do this earlier, but I didn't. Another gift card giveaway, because here, regular is now up. It has gone down for a bit, but it's back up to $4.25. So I've got a couple of small things for people. Not a lot now. Just because I've got a little thing going on. Thank you. Just because I have a couple little things going doesn't mean I have it like that. Trust me. Business takes money to run. And anybody that's vegan or who may go to organic store, those products aren't cheap. So I try to show people that come to the page ways to save, and I have a lot of vegan stuff going on there and things that actually help me. So there's ways you can meal prep for 2 or 3 days, depending upon how many you have in your family. Healthy ideas, healthy foods, or healthier foods if you can get to them. But the main thing is, and it may be hard for people out on the road, if at all possible, really try hard to stay away from the sugars and the fried foods. Everybody is not interested in being vegan. That was my choice. But you can still be healthy by being a non-vegan, to stay away from processed foods. And for those who purchase a lot of canned foods, such as soups, turn the label around. A lot of times there's enough in one can for 2 servings. But what you need to pay attention to is the amount of sodium that's in that one can. So little things like that can really make a difference. And again, water, water, water. And if you can, try to cleanse at least weekly. I can't tell you the amount and how much is in your gut, to include parasites, because, and this may sound gross to some people, but we're adults. We only have one temple, and if you are not regular, and when I say regular, three, maybe 4 times, if you catch my drift, is good daily. But if you go 2, 3 days without releasing, then that's a problem. Your intestines, your intestinal walls have captured all of that waste. And that can become toxic. So, fresh, big, leafy greens, either raw or cooked. Warm water and lemon is also good. But before you do any of those things, make sure you consult with your physician first. Oats, oatmeal. I always put oatmeal in my smoothies. You can make oatmeal or oat milk with that. Hi there. Keep the change. I don't know who you are, keep the change, but because of you, you made me use my last puff of my albuterol. And I had to go find my other package because I leave one in the car and I keep one inside. That laugh of yours had me rolling. And I was at work. Good thing we weren't on a Zoom call because it would have had me fired. But keep your foot on your neck. And I wish I could communicate some really juicy things. But I think you and I are right here. And pretty much, including Mr. Mill or Meal. Is it Meal or Mill? I don't know. Ticket, but yeah. Some of these stories are hilarious. And I kind of, in a way, because of my heart, feel bad for that individual because I'm not a man and And I don't have testosterone and an ego like that. But when you place yourself up on a pedestal of being Tony Soprano and you get knocked down and you look like, let me think of a name, like, I don't know, just the lowest man on the totem pole, that's really bad. And people can actually call you out on your BS. And I'll just leave it right there for now. I may post something later. I may not. It depends on how I feel, but some of you people better watch yourselves with these LLCs out here and services you claim to give. People are watching, and it might be, no, it would behoove you to change the background on some of your pages, because you're telling on yourself that way too. You really are. I've noticed some people freely give information, but that information is just a ploy to try to throw you off your trail. But there's always some truth in a lie. And looks like somebody's lies catching up. And looks like some of you know that. And you're pulling a Nino Brown on folks. And you folks need to realize that when they're shouting you out, they're not doing it to recognize you. What did Nino say when the prosecutor asked him if he was head of the notorious bloody organization CMB? And he said, yes, but I was forced. They told me if I didn't do it, it would hurt me and my family. And the prosecutor said, they? Who's they? And then he blamed it on Kareem Akbar, the intelligent brother of the bank. He popped his collar and said, if I'm going down, I'm taking all y'all down. So, you like watching shows? You better think about that line right there, because it was classic. And I've noticed a couple of you do that. You actually did a roll call. Anyway, you all enjoy your Tuesday. I may come on later. I may not. I haven't even gone to the office yet. But when I do, I'll be having my little gift card giveaway. And I also had 2 really good panelists for the business showcase I did. It's free advertising to help small businesses out there get the word out. Advertising is extremely expensive, as you know, but I used my platform, which is my small business, to afford these businesses that opportunity to get free advertising, and I'm going to replay it a couple of times this week for them. So that's my way of giving back And the message of we the people out here not just talking, but doing the work. So with that, good night for now. But you all keep exposing these people and not exposing them in a malicious way, but to let them know you can have your content. You can eat. You can have your families eat. But it doesn't have to be at the expense of other people. It's as simple as that. There's so much content out here. Stop doing some of the things that you're doing. And some of you people, and like I said, I don't agree with everything KB says. I don't agree with some of the things I hear other content creators say. But in his defense, and honestly, and this is a true story, last year I was going through some really, really bad issues with my lungs, and I just happened to click on YouTube and that's when I heard him going off on Becky with good hair and put a wallet on your face, or I laughed and it changed my mood. So I was like, wait a minute, I remember him. It was a long time ago now, 2001. Geez, I was 30. Oh, I am getting old. So yeah, I remember when he was here in DC. But gee, it was funny every day. And I'm not going to say no one else has, but I have not seen anyone else allow so many people to eat. He gave a lot of people food. Damn, he even gave people the table. And then, like Judas, a lot of people turned on him. Okay, some people say, well, he got away from the message, or likes to be in confrontation. Maybe. I don't know how he chooses to run his platform or to conduct himself as a grown man. I'm not getting into that. I'm just saying what I have seen him do for others and how his hand was bit by feeding others. So it's a lesson, a hard lesson, but I have a feeling, even though it may get worse before it gets better, he'll come back up on top and show a little bit more. He's not going to show his entire hand right now, and I wouldn't either. And to those who are like, well, he did this and he did that, again, we all make mistakes. If you don't like it, don't watch. Speak your opinion and go. But to plot, that's wrong. Especially if you actually look at what's going on now. Eventually, there won't be any of us left. Seriously, open your eyes. Look at the laws. Look at the restrictions. If we don't come together as a people We have ruined what was left for us by those who came before us. And to me, that's right up there with a sin. People lost their lives, beaten, maimed, just for us to have what we have now. And all this fighting and plotting towards one another. Again, I enjoy laughing. That's keeping me going. But when you sit there and plot and allegedly plan harm against others, that's not a good look. And people are watching. The man upstairs, if you believe, is watching. And there are other people watching. And while some of you out there who publicly announce you're doxers, and that's what you do, you may end up finding that you've met your match. I think someone's already found that out. So be careful of what you put out in that universe, because when it comes back, it's going to lay your pants flat. Take care, everyone. Remember, May, Lupus Awareness Month. Choose a day, wear something purple, and support those fighting lupus like I am, and I have been for 30 years now, and in memory of those that we've lost, to include women, men, and many children. Appreciate it. Appreciate you.